I think we are live. Hello, everyone. I'm just checking in the group here that I can see if we are live yet. Okay, very good. We are. Perfect. I'm opening up in the group so I can see comments. Okay, here we go. Tell you what, in New Jersey today, it was 80, well, it still is. It's 89 degrees. We went from 56 yesterday to 89 degrees today. Whew, it's hot. And you would think, well, why don't you have your air conditioning on? I don't have them in the windows yet. And a lot of people ask me about my heat intolerance. And yeah, of course I used to have it. I used to have the air conditioning on 62 degrees. Everyone knew when they came over my house, bring a sweatshirt because Janine can't move unless it's freezing. Well, when I got healthy, my condenser broke. Well, actually, when I got healthy, I didn't use air conditioning at all. I wanted to see how I would do, and I did great. I loved it. I actually loved the heat. I never thought I would say that. So, and then I got tired of being hot. So I think it was the second year. I was like, you know what? We're using air conditioning. And I went to go put it on. The condenser broke. It was broken. And I never replaced it because I was a single parent and it was like $5,000. So I never replaced it. And so I'm still using window units, which means, they come out in the winter, they go back in the summer, and I don't have them in yet. It's freaking hot. So anyway, as you're jumping on, say hi. Let me know who's here. Hi, Ginger, Stephanie, Mary, Tanis. Oh, Tanis is over in Vancouver. Is it warm there yet? Or is it still cold? I'm telling you, it's every day is something different here. Hot, cold. Hey, Sarah. Oh, I'm glad you're on. I'm glad everybody's on. But Sarah, you were saying that you were looking forward to this information. So I probably shouldn't admit this, but this is the first live that I actually did in outline, because as I was thinking about it myself, okay, well, I have to explain this, and then I should explain this, and I was all over the place because there's so much information out there, and everything that we're doing here in Minding Your Soul is about healing MS. So there are protocols out there that say don't eat fat, and then this one's like, oh, eat fat, but then sometimes you'll hear the medical medium say don't eat fat because it stops the absorption of vitamins. And then you read somewhere else where he's like, coconut oil is the healthiest thing that you could do for your body, and you're like, well, what do I do? So if you're reading a book, right, and you're reading the excerpt in the book and he's talking about cleaning out the liver, you're going to read one thing. If you're reading somewhere else where he's talking about bringing those triglycerides, those healing triglycerides into the body, you're like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. I think after reading all of his books so many times, I don't even know how many times, I still pick them up and just read. After reading all of his books and listening to all of his lives, that you have to approach it in more of a general way. So you have to understand, like, what are you talking about when it comes to fats, and in what sense are you asking? So what I did was, oh, hello everyone. I'm looking forward to feeling better. Stephanie, I'm so glad. And that's what we're here to do every Wednesday, live at 5. I give you all the protocol information. Everything we talk about pertains to how to heal MS. Now, MS is just a virus. It's just the Epstein-Barr virus. So how do you heal the virus? Well, you remove the food sources, right? The gluten, the dairy, the eggs, the heavy metals. You remove that. You boost up your immune system. This is a protocol for every human body. It just so happens that our human bodies have this very specific virus, and we need to kill it. So we need to do a little bit extra, a little bit more than the average human walking around who doesn't have the virus. So one thing I just learned about Facebook, and I probably should have known this before. As you're jumping on, if you like this information that you're hearing, Ginger, 75 degrees in Texas, isn't that crazy? It's so crazy, this weather all over the place. So if I sound like I'm out of breath, it's because it's probably like 80 degrees in this room right now. Anyway, so what I just learned about Facebook by watching somebody else's live is they said, if you like this information and you want it to be seen to more people inside Minding Your Soul, then hit the heart button or the like button as you're watching it. That boosts the algorithm and gets it out in front of more people in this group. So I always felt weird about asking, hey, could you give me a like or a heart? I'm like, yeah, if they like it, they'll like it. But it actually does something. It actually boosts the algorithm. So anytime through this, if you're liking the information and you want it to be seen more, hit that like button. All right, so if you have any questions, Yes, Andrew, how to get rid of symptoms. That's exactly what we're talking about here. How to get rid of symptoms. If you're new to the group and, you're wondering, okay, this is great information, but, where's the rest of it? You could always go on the Minding Your Soul YouTube channel. All of the videos that I make on the Live at 5, they get uploaded to YouTube. So you don't have to scroll through the group to look for them. You can find them easily on YouTube. And if you want to know the entire protocol from start to finish, it's not something that I could just, say in 5 minutes. It actually takes about 5 hours for me to explain it, which is why a couple times a year I do a workshop. It's a 5-day workshop and I go live every day for an hour. All of the workshops are also on YouTube. Everything is for free. So start with day 1 and work your way through till the day 5 and you'll get the entire protocol. If you want to purchase the protocol and get all the videos, all the PDFs, everything that comes along with it, there are guides in there, food plan guides. You can buy it online, mindingyoursoul.com. You could also schedule free consultations and group coaching sessions. I'm in the process of redoing my program. It's no longer going to be a 4-month program. It's going to be an a la carte program. We're going to roll that out in June. So I'm going to do another workshop at the end of May and then roll out that new program in June because I really want to. Natalie, 75 in Pittsburgh. I feel like that is a really good temperature. I feel like, you're going from the 50s to 89 degrees and you're not acclimated yet. So what I'm trying to do when I redo the program is appeal to more people, because I know in the 4-month coaching program, those all or nothing people where they're like, all right, I'm in, sign me up, I'll get on Zoom 3 times a week. There are those people, and then there are other people who are like, can I just dip my toe in first and see if I like it? So that's why I wanted to include more people and just have an a la carte, buy 1 coaching session at a time, $20, see if you like it, sign up for more if you do, and then that will open it up to more personalities and be able to give you all of this information for a very affordable cost, because my God, trying to heal this and being home and not working, it's like every MS protocol, healing protocol out there is I don't know, $100,000, at least a couple grand. So this will make it a lot more accessible for people. Andrew says, is this for any chronic condition or just MS? Well, actually, it's for any chronic condition. The reason why we are targeting MS in this group is because that's what I had. That's what I healed. All of my MS symptoms. So I talk to people with MS. But if you read what the medical medium says about this protocol, because this protocol is largely based on all the medical medium information, if you read what he says, he goes, listen, the Epstein-Barr virus is responsible for all autoimmune diseases because there's no such thing as your immune system automatically attacking yourself. There's no such thing as your immune system wrongly attacking. It's attacking something. It's attacking the Epstein-Barr virus. It's just that medical tests don't see the Epstein-Barr virus because in stage 3 of the virus, it leaves the blood and goes into an organ. For us, it's our spleen and it's our liver, which we're going to be talking about that in a little while. If the virus decides to take home in your thyroid, then you get thyroidism. If it decides to take up a residence in your gut lining, well, depending on the strain you have, from mild to aggressive, there's 65 different strains, then if you have a mild strain, you're going to have IBS. If you have a very aggressive strain, you're going to have Crohn's disease. So he says that this protocol is good for every condition, but because I had MS, I talked to the people who have MS, want to heal the way I did. But that was a great question. Thank you. Every chocolate has dairy in it. Some dark chocolates don't. Some dark chocolates don't. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to follow this outline and stay with me because everything is linked. All the information is linked to the end result. So we're talking about fats. Are fats good for us? When are we supposed to eat them? To understand the answer, it's not just a yes or a no. So when we're talking about consuming fat, olive oil, coconut oil, whether we're talking about consuming it raw, like in a salad dressing, or using it for cooking when we have to heat it up very high, there are certain oils that perform differently. The entire goal of everything that we put in our body, the entire goal is to heal our bodies. So what we put in our body is very important. And when it comes to oil, there's so many different oils out there. We don't want to be going against our healing. We still want to fry our foods. We still want to saute our vegetables, right? But we don't want to be going against our healing. So there is a way to do it so that you are supporting your healing. And the healing is your immune system not having to fight so much. Because it's been fighting a virus 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right now, if you're still in the healing process, you're still fighting the Epstein-Barr virus, which means your immune system is constantly fighting. That's what heat intolerance is. When your immune system goes, I've been fighting for your life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the past how many years, right? You probably had the virus way before you were diagnosed. And then you go outside and you get hot and your body's like, I don't have the energy or the resources to cool you down. And you being too hot isn't going to kill you. So right now I'm going to just go focus on the virus. And goes, you're on your own. You get too hot, you're fine, you're not going to die. As soon as your body gets some energy, because it doesn't have to kill the virus, it doesn't have to work so hard every day to kill that virus and keep you safe. As soon as your body gets some energy, it goes, oh, God, there's so much shit I want to do. Thank you so much. I don't have to fight for your life every minute of every day. All right, you want me to cool you down? Let me go tap into those resources and make sure I regulate your temperature. That's all heat intolerance is. So once you kill the virus, you'll start to notice you're able to handle the heat and the cold, any temperature fluctuation. You're able to handle it so much better. So, getting right into it, here are going to be what we're talking about and how it's all going to come together. First, we need to understand what free radicals are. Then we're going to talk about oxidative stress. Then we're going to talk about the types of oils. And then we're going to talk about when to eat the oil and why some protocols say it's bad. So, to first understand everything, we have to know what a free radical is and what it does inside of our body. By definition, a free radical is a molecule that's missing an electron. When a molecule and our cells, all the cells in our body, whether it's an eyeball, your skin, an organ, your entire body is made up of cells. Every cell is made up of molecules. The molecules have a certain number of protons, electrons, and neutrons. When it's missing an electron, it becomes unstable. When a molecule becomes unstable, the cell becomes unstable. Your cells are constantly reproducing, whether it's a healthy cell or an unhealthy cell. A free radical is an unhealthy cell. It's called an unstable cell. When you have unstable cells reproducing, that's called cancer. That's called oxidative stress. The only way to turn a free radical, or the only way to turn an unstable cell into a healthy cell, is to give it an electron. How do you do that? What you do is you consume the superheroes. There's a whole video about this, superhero video on Minding Your Soul. I've done a few live at 5s on this. So there are superheroes that you want to bring into your body every single day because we're constantly coming in contact with free radicals. We're constantly losing electrons. Our digestion process alone, all the chemicals in the world, the foods that we're eating, even if we're eating 100% organic, we're still consuming these things in our body that our cells can't handle, and they're losing electrons, which means the cells are turning into unstable cells, and that's what leads to chronic disease, inflammation, cancer. So everything we put in our body, we want to make sure that we are stabilizing our cells and reducing the free radical load. How do you do that? Well, you bring in the superheroes. The more superheroes you consume, the less free radicals you're going to have, because the superheroes are wearing a cape, right? Every superhero you put in your body is wearing a cape. And in that cape, in the lining of the cape, there are these pockets, and those pockets are filled with electrons. As that superhero enters your body, it looks around and goes, holy shit, got a lot of free radicals over here. Now, an unstable cell that is the free radical, the unstable cell that's missing the electron, it will go over to another cell and it will steal an electron in order to become stable itself. Well, then guess what? That other cell that just got its electron stolen from, he becomes unstable. Now he's reproducing. So when the superhero comes in and sees all this activity going on, it reaches in all of its pockets, and like Oprah on Christmas, I love saying that, I know you've heard it a million times, but like Oprah at Christmas, you get an electron and you get an electron, and the superhero throws electrons at all the unstable cells in your body. And it doesn't become unstable itself. How do you flood your body with these superheroes? You walk into your grocery store and you go into the produce aisle, and everything that you see in that produce aisle, all those different colors, are all the different colored superheroes. You put them in your body and they're throwing electrons at all of your cells and making everybody stable, bringing down the inflammation and helping out your immune system. So remember that. So remember what a free radical is. Okay, so then oxidative stress. What is oxidative stress? Okay, so now we know what a free radical is. Let's talk about oils. The difference between all the oils that you see on the shelves, that some are stable and some are unstable. So what makes an oil unstable? The point at which it oxidizes. When you heat up an oil, you heat it up to the point where its molecular structure breaks down. Okay, when you heat up certain oils that don't have enough ratio of the good fats in them, they're going to break down very easily. When that molecular structure breaks down, guess what? It begins to lose electrons. So when you heat up the wrong type of oil when you're cooking, all of that oil is now a soup of free radicals. So now all the vegetables that you're sauteing in that oil is covered in free radicals. So you're taking the superhero, right? You're coating it in free radicals. So when it goes into the body, the superhero is like, all right, well, first, let me handle what's all around me so this doesn't get in the body, and it starts throwing electrons at the covering that it's on. And the superheroes don't have an unlimited amount of electrons to hand out. So basically, it's only going to deal with what's on it rather than taking care of what's been inside your body and what's happening inside of your body. That's why people say, well, I don't want to coat my vegetables in rancid oil, because you don't want to take on all of those extra free radicals that could have been completely avoided if you didn't heat up that oil. Because so many oils, let's go into the oils now. Let's say olive oil. Olive oil is so high. It is the highest oil in antioxidants. It has the most amount of antioxidants. When you heat it up, it doesn't break down. It doesn't turn rancid and turn into a free radical soup, because it actually does have a very high heat point. So it's going to take way more heat than you're going to use cooking to break that down. But the thing about olive oil is, because of its very high antioxidant, you want to use that to your antioxidant level. You want to use that to your advantage. So you always want to eat olive oil cold, not because it's going to turn rancid if you heat it up, but because you want the influx, you want that flooding of antioxidants when you put it in your body. So although you absolutely can heat up olive oil, why miss out on that opportunity to flood your body with those antioxidants if you just ate it cold? And listen, I hear you. As an Italian, as a Sicilian, I don't know if I was ever taught how to start a meal that didn't begin with, you heat up some olive oil and you put the garlic in, and you put the garlic in the cold oil and you heat them up together, because then the garlic infuses the flavor of the olive oil. It's freaking delicious. You smear some crusty bread in there and it's a meal. But you don't want to do that with olive oil, because it's so good for you. It's filled with antioxidants, and that's why the Mediterranean diet is so healthy, and that's why those people are so freaking healthy. They don't heat up their olive oil. They put olive oil on everything and they use it cold. So what is the oil to use when you want to saute something? Avocado oil is very good. It's also very high in antioxidants, but not as high as olive oil. So if you're going to use an oil cold, use the olive oil, get those antioxidants in. If you're going to fry up something, saute something, use the avocado oil. Yes, that's great. You could totally use that. It's safe. It remains stable. But the best one to use is the coconut oil. Now, let me read you what the medical medium says about coconut oil, because if you read certain pieces of what the medical medium talks about, and we're going to get to that in the next bullet point, he talks about don't have fat because it prevents the absorption of minerals and vitamins. However, there is timing in your day of when to have fat and when not to have fat. He never says coconut oil is bad for you. In fact, I printed out like 11 pages of what he said, but I'm just going to read the first one just to pique your interest, because you can Google medical medium coconut, and you're going to find, it's not easy to find this because the title is like coconut curry recipe, but before he gets to the recipe, this is all the information on coconut. I'm going to read it to you. So he says, coconut in the form of coconut water and coconut oil has enjoyed some time in the sun in recent years. We hear stories about how coconut water was used as IV fluid for wounded soldiers in World War II, and about health miracles people have experienced by incorporating coconut oil into their diets. Everywhere you turn, it seems, there's a positive claim about coconut, and rightfully so. And then he goes on to explain why. It is amazing. I wonder if I should have highlighted here. Okay, now let's get down to what hasn't yet been discovered about coconut. Coconut enhances, this is from the medical medium still, coconut enhances the power of anything it touches. It has an incredible reach. When combined with any healing food, coconut gets in touch with those benefits and supercharges them. For example, if you add coconut water to a smoothie with parsley, that coconut water increases the parsley's ability to remove unproductive acids from your body by 50%. And then he goes on, if you were to add coconut meat, if you were to add coconut oil, anything that you add coconut to, the coconut supercharges its abilities. So the way I teach how to eat, I can't tell you to go ahead and eat 9 cups of fruits and vegetables, or actually 9 cups of vegetables every day, because I don't do that, and I didn't do that to heal. And I don't believe that you have to do that, because I think you can only do that for a certain amount of time before you're like, I can't live on 9 cups of vegetables a day. What I do is I find a hack for everything so that I get the most out of what I'm eating. Because how many people do I talk to and they're like, I don't eat enough. What I eat is good, but I just don't eat enough. So everything that you eat, you want a little hack so that you're getting the most out of what you eat. So when it comes to oils, use your olive oil cold, get all those antioxidants. Now the coconut oil doesn't have a ton of antioxidants. You're going to find that out when you go Google that. It doesn't have a ton of antioxidants, but it is the most stable oil, and everything else in the coconut oil that's supercharging all the nutrients in those vegetables. Remember what I just talked about? When you cover those vegetables in that rancid oil, that free radical soup. I'm taking off these bracelets because I'm making too much noise. When you coat that vegetable in a free radical soup, that is the unstable oil, then that vegetable can't be a superhero inside your body further than the oil that it's covered in. It's just going to take care of those free radicals that you just put in. You want those superheroes to get inside your body and go after everything, bring down the inflammation by making those unstable cells stable and healthy and supporting your immune system, rather than making more work for your body and more inflammation for your body to bring down. That's why we use the coconut oil. Not to mention, I can do an entire video on coconut oil and how I use it in the house. I'll do this real quickly because then we're going to talk about the timing of coconut oil. Coconut oil is a different type of fat than olive oil, than avocado oil, than all the other oils out there. Oh, and never use vegetable oils. Never use vegetable oils. What they do to process the seed oil, the canola, any kind of vegetable oil, the way they take the seed, the vegetable, and turn it into oil, they use a very high heat process. So in order to turn the seed into an oil, very high heat. What does that high heat do to all the molecules inside of that seed? It turns it into free radicals. It oxidizes the shit out of it. Everyone's losing their electrons, and then it goes into a bottle, and then you're like, well, how bad could this be? It's really bad. So don't use canola, don't use vegetable oils, don't use lard. But I think, since the 1960s, we knew that. So coconut oil has a different kind of fatty acid. So not a fatty acid, because that's what it turns into in your body. There are different size chains of triglycerides. Triglycerides are the fat. So avocado oil, olive oil, they're long chains. Okay, your body takes a lot of, I think it's like 32 different processes that your body has to go through in order to utilize those long chains, turn them into fatty acids, and then utilize them for energy. Most of the time, 90% of the time, those 32 processes don't happen, and they end up sticking to your arteries and your ass. Medium chain triglycerides that are found in coconut oil, that's when we see the MCT oil. They've extracted the medium chain triglycerides and put them in their own oil, their own thing. Those medium chains, they don't stick to your ass, your arteries, because they go through one or two processes before they get utilized in the body for energy, as opposed to the 32 steps that your body has to go through in order to process that long chain. So you want the medium chain fatty acids, and they are only found in coconut oil. So there are so many reasons to use coconut oil. For your frying, for your sauteing, anytime you're going to cook. I use it in place of butter in baked goods. Now, if you're going to do that real quick on baked goods, you can replace the butter, or I'm sorry, the oil, any oil that they're calling for, use the coconut oil. But coconut oil is liquid at, I think, above 73, 4, 5 degrees. And it's like a white lard. Under 72 degrees. Now, when you're baking, right when it comes out of the oven, everything's nice and hot. That coconut oil inside the recipe is nice and hot, so everything's all moist. As soon as that recipe cools down, let's say you're making a cake, it's going to be hard and grainy, and it's going to be awful. So, still use the coconut oil, but replace the butter with sour cream. Replace that with sour cream. Dairy-free sour cream, which tastes like shit, but it doesn't when you add the sour cream into your cake batter and add a little vanilla, add a little sugar. So just keep that in mind. Yes, you can bake with coconut oil. Just make sure that you're also using the dairy-free sour cream to keep everything moist and nice. There's a hack to everything. I'm telling you, gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free is not hard if you know a couple tips and tricks to make the shit taste good, because I feel like anything you buy out there in the stores, you gotta fudge a little bit. You gotta add some stuff, because it's not good right off the shelf. All right, so that's a little tidbit on coconut oil and why to use that one instead. Remember, if anyone missed it before, the olive oil you can absolutely use. It's not going to turn rancid. So if you want to use that, great. We're just trying to get the most out of everything that we put in our bodies. So we want to always make sure that the olive oil is cold, so that we keep all of those antioxidants. If you look at the antioxidant level in olive oil, it's absolutely amazing. So use that cold. Utilize that. Utilize all of those antioxidants, because the minute you heat up olive oil, it loses. All the antioxidants are just like it. They're gone. It's not rancid, but the antioxidant level goes down significantly. So with the coconut oil, that you can use it at a high heat. That doesn't turn rancid, and it's so freaking good for you with those medium chain fatty acids. You're going to take that oil. It's not going to stick to your ass, your arteries. It's going to get burned immediately for energy. And your body is going to utilize that energy quickly and easily, as opposed to those long chain fatty acids. All right, so now the last point. Oh, it's so freaking hot in here. Let me check some of the questions, because I don't want to miss some. The last point that we're going to talk about is the timing and why we sometimes see the medical medium saying no oil. Oil is going to prevent the absorption of vitamins and minerals. Let me just check real quick. I won't forget. I have that written down. All right. So, okay. Okay, perfect. Tanis, thank you for that. Thank you for answering Andrew's questions. All right, Quinn, what would you say is the daily limit on oil is? Okay, we're going to get into that. Quinn, God, I love you. We're going to get into that on this next topic. Okay. What kind of oil is good for baking? Okay, good, Becky. I think you asked that probably before I just said that. The coconut oil. Coconut oil is great for baking as long as you're using the sour cream in that same recipe, because the coconut oil is great while the cake is warm. As soon as that cake cools down, it's going to be very hard and gritty. Not hard, but like firm and not like soft and fluffy. You want it soft and fluffy. So you want to add that sour cream in there too. All right, so. Okay, sorry. So why does the medical medium say avoid fats to clean out your liver and to get the best absorption from vitamins? All right, so he's talking about coconut oil and how amazing it is here, right? In a lot of his books, a lot of stuff online. But then in other parts, in other books of his, he's saying avoid oil because it prevents your body from absorbing the vitamins and nutrients, and it gunks up your liver and prevents it from operating efficiently to clear out the shit that it needs to clear out so that you can heal. So what are you supposed to do? Do you eat the oil or don't you eat the oil? Trust me, it took so long to read all the information to get the full picture of what he was talking about. So, oil, obviously, is very good for you. However, not however, but in addition, the property of oil itself, it's an oil. It's a lubrication. So yes, it's going to lubricate all of the walls inside of your body and make it harder for the nutrients of the food to get through those walls and utilized by your immune system, because 80-something% of your immune system is found on the outside layer of your gut lining. So your gut lining, that starts from here and goes all the way out to the other end, right? Let's picture a tube. So inside the tube, all in here, is where your food is getting digested. Outside the tube, on this side, this is where most of your immune system hangs out, because it gets the first press of nutrients and vitamins and minerals from your food. And it needs the first press. I say that because extra virgin olive oil is the first press of the olives, and that's what is the most expensive. So the first press, your immune system wants to take advantage of, because it's the most important thing in your body, your immune system. It's what keeps you alive. So when the medical medium says don't eat fats, he's talking about a certain time of the day. Now, if you are chronically ill and you are bedridden, you can't get out of bed, and nothing you eat you're absorbing, you're not getting any of the benefits, then yeah, you're going to take a period of time where you want to cut out all of the oils, but not forever. Okay, so let's go back to the timing. Let's go to your liver. Your liver wakes up, and you guys have heard this, and you haven't heard it, if you want the full training on it, look up the morning routine videos on Minding Your Soul's YouTube channel, an hour to explain all of it. In a nutshell, your liver wakes up before you do. For the normal sleep cycle, it's around 3 o'clock in the morning. Your liver wakes up and is like, okay, good, she's asleep. Let me get my work done before she wakes up and starts eating. And it starts pulling out your liver. This is what your liver's doing. It starts pulling out all the toxins and the shit that it can inside of your body, so that when you wake up and pee, you pee most of it out, utilizing the water that's already inside of your body. That's why we drink the lemon water when we wake up, to help our body flush out even more of those toxins, helping our body get rid of those toxins. Do you see how it all leaps together? So you don't want to put more free radicals in later on with the rancid oil. It's all a cycle. So if your liver wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning and it starts pulling everything out and it's pushing all of those toxins out, that's why your morning urine is the darkest, because it's got the most crap in it from its work that it's been doing while you were sleeping. So then we wake up and we drink the lemon water. Your liver will continue that detoxing process. It will continue to grab, even though you peed, you got it all out, you drank your lemon water, your liver's still going. It's like, all right, she hasn't eaten yet, this is cool, so I'm gonna keep doing this. And it keeps pulling it out and pulling it out. And then if you're doing the protocol, you're drinking the celery juice, and your liver's like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is so helpful. Thank you. I need all of this to flush out even more of the toxins. It's not only doing that, but the celery juice is killing viruses inside your body on contact. Celery juice, there's a whole book. He wrote an entire book on what it does. But for our purposes, your liver's like, oh my God, this is wonderful. Thank you. And it's still detoxing. Then, if you're on the protocol, you drink the heavy metal detox smoothie. All of those antioxidants, right? All of those fruits and those green powders. Your liver's like, oh, this is great. Oh my God, this is amazing. I can do so much with this. And it pushes out even more. Your liver is going to continue to detox your body until you eat a protein, a fat, or a grain. All three of those, not all three together, but each one of those, a protein, a fat, or a grain. A fat is an oil, right? So what the medical medium suggests is, as we're healing, and you and I, what we're healing is the Epstein-Barr virus, is MS. It's critical that our liver flushes everything out, because the virus took up home in our liver and in our spleen. And that's why we're having the symptoms that we're having. So we especially people diagnosed with MS who are riddled with the Epstein-Barr virus in those areas, we especially want to pay close attention to our livers. So huge health benefits, as the medical medium describes in these 15 pages, huge health benefits to coconut oil. So what do? Well, have it later. Have it later in the day. Get the most out of your liver's detoxing. Get your liver to detox as long as possible throughout the day, because as soon as you eat a grain, a protein, or a fat, and oil is a fat, your liver goes, oh, okay, I got work to do. I have to accept all of these vitamins. I have to break this shit down, and then I have to tell the other departments what to do with them, and I have to send them different places. I don't have time for detoxing. There's too much for me to do. So that's why your liver is going to continue to detox until you eat a protein, a fat, or a grain. So the best way to do it, like I said, if it is a case where you're like, I can't walk, I can't get out of bed, I can't move, medical medium calls it mattress island. If you are on mattress island and you need to do something drastic, then take a couple weeks and don't have those oils and just flood your body with those antioxidants, the fruits and the vegetables. But if you're on your healing journey and you want to get the most out of your liver's detoxing, then just spend most of your day, let's say what I do, like 12, 1, 2 o'clock, right? So it's the lemon water, the celery juice, the heavy metal detox smoothie. Now, sometimes I have coffee before the heavy metal detox smoothie. Sometimes if I'm having a good day, I'll have the heavy metal detox smoothie and then the coffee, and vice versa. So they're always interchangeable, because you can drink the heavy metal smoothie whenever you want. But I put creamer, not a dairy creamer, but still, it's a creamer in my coffee, so that's going to stop my liver. So if I'm having a good day and I'm like, let's keep this detox going, I'll have the heavy metal detox smoothie first, and then later on have the coffee. If I wake up and I'm like, where's the fucking coffee? Then I'm going to have my lemon water, celery juice maybe, and then I'm going to go right for the coffee. You don't have to do everything perfectly all the time. If you did have to do that, I would never heal. I would have never healed. I did most things right most of the time, and I started in baby steps, little tiny baby steps, and I went in those trenches and I stayed in those trenches, because we focus a lot on the peaks and valleys in this group, because when you're in a valley, it feels like an exacerbation. You feel like you're getting worse, and your mind will just sit there and go, see, what you're doing is not working. You're actually getting worse, when you're not. It's the healing process. So that's why you have to know all of these things, why I can't say, here are the 5 bulleted items on how to heal. It's a whole process, because if I were to just tell you, go gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, add in some lemon water, celery juice, and get the metals out, you'd be like, all right, great, you do it, and then you'd start feeling worse, and you wouldn't know why. You wouldn't know the timing of all of these things and how to go through the evolution of healing, because healing doesn't just happen. You don't just wake up one day and start healing. It is an evolution, and it takes baby steps, and it takes knowing all of these little freaking details, right, that we weren't taught in school. No one taught us this shit. I had to read, oh my God, over 1,000 books, and I got a little piece out of everything. And then thank God in 2015 the medical medium put everything together, and he's like, this is why you're sick, it's called the Epstein-Barr virus, and this is how you kill it. I had about 60% of the information that he was talking about when he released his book, and he talked the way I did about your body's not attacking itself. He talked a little crazy. I thought he was a little insane, talking to the spirit of compassion, but I remained open. I'm like, you know what, the man sounds a little weird, but what he's saying about the virus and my body not attacking itself makes perfect sense. So thank God he did what he did, because all of the information in his books, you really can't latch on to one thing. You have to know all of it. So you have to know somebody like me who has just read the books over and over again, and really I absorb more information every single time I read the book. I see it in a different way. I figure out how to put it in a way that is understandable, because I'm not a disciplined person. That's why I know everybody can heal. I don't care what your problem is. I don't care if you tell me you smoke every day. Guess what? Smoking is gluten-free. I've had people heal who are smoking, not were, who are. There's always a way to heal, and it doesn't take this, superhero feat, and I have to do everything perfectly all the time, and I can't touch this oil, and I can't touch that. The only thing you can't touch is gluten. You can't. Dairy's not going to set you back. If you have a little bit of dairy, it's not going to set you back. And if you have an egg baked into something, it's not going to set you back. Don't have a whole bowl of scrambled eggs. Yes, that's going to set you back. But you know what I mean? Like, you can't accidentally eat gluten. That's going to set you back. That's going to be enough to feed the virus to give you symptoms. You're going to feel that. Whether that you feel that in a digestive way or whether that you feel that in a symptomatic way, you're going to feel it from the gluten. Everyone experiences it the same with the gluten. It's always a reaction, whether it's symptoms or whether it's digestive. It's either digestive and symptoms, or it's just symptoms and you can digest it just fine. So, understanding if fats are good for you, yes, fats are good for you, but we need to utilize our liver and make it as efficient as possible in getting the shit out of our body, because what else are we doing in this protocol? We're killing the virus. That's when we kill the virus leaves behind its dead corpse. It's not an oxymoron, like that's a double on, yeah, it's a corpse and it's dead. Of course it's dead. So the corpse of the virus is a neurotoxin and a dermatoxin. That's got to be pushed out of our body. So it's not just about killing the virus, but it's about getting the virus out of your body, the dead virus out of your body. Because as that virus dies inside your body, guess what? It's still fucking causing symptoms, because the corpse of the virus is a neurotoxin and it's a dermatoxin, which is why the eczema, the psoriasis, the patches all over us, that's all the dead virus. And did you know that heavy metals are actually called heavy metals because they're freaking heavy? They're heavy in nature. So the heavy metals inside of our body, they are affected by gravity, and that's why it is normally our fingertips that are affected by the psoriasis, and our lower extremities, like from the knees down, that are affected by the psoriasis and the eczema. How freaking interesting is that? I don't think I knew that up until recently. So all of these little tiny pieces of information that we learn, we start to incorporate into our diet. We start to incorporate into the timing of our eating, and then we start to change what we're eating. That's why I say in this protocol and in the group coaching, it is an evolution. There's no way to absorb all of this information because we were never taught it. We didn't grow up with it. It's all new to us. We weren't even told that we could heal from MS until recently, when the medical industry finally caught up with the medical medium and said, oh, maybe he's not crazy. Because now we see that 90% or 100% of MS patients have the Epstein-Barr virus, and 90-something% of the people in the world have a strain of the Epstein-Barr virus. They're finally starting to see that now. So we were never taught this information. So when you're given all of this information, if you expect to wake up the next day and go, this is how I'm going to live, you're setting yourself up for failure, because the human mind, the human body doesn't work that way. You have to evolve into this new way of life. And don't we know that any transition into anything new, even if it's good, the transition period, the change period sucks. It's awful. It's uncomfortable. There's new thoughts that we have. There's new decisions to be made. And it seems like every time we eat, there's another decision that has to be made. And then we question, wait, is that what she said? Is that what he said? I don't know. Am I doing the right thing? There's so much to absorb. So that's why anyone starting this protocol, there's group coaching available to you if you want to check in, if you want to do it regularly. It's a la carte. I'm going to roll it out in June though, so I'm still working on the website. So I know I'm talking about it because I'm very excited because I love the new program, but not yet. We're gonna roll it out in June, but I'm just letting you know that it's coming, and I'll do a workshop the end of May so that we roll it out in June, and everyone has the information they need to sign up for what they want, when they want, in a correct way. Because my God, the tech shit that I'm learning right now, back end of that website, I'm getting it though. I'm doing it. See what I mean? The transition, learning something new, fucking sucks, and it's so hard. So take all of this information, watch these videos, and do not freak out when you go to make dinner later and you've got the oil that you've always been using and maybe it says canola oil. Use the friggin' oil. The next time you go to the store, buy the coconut oil. Right? I wish I had my visual aids. I can't believe I didn't bring them. So at Costco, they sell that huge vat of coconut oil. And that's what we use in this house for everything. As a moisturizer in the bathroom, I use it on Jackson's hands, my hands too, but on Jackson's hands before he goes to daycare. Not only do I put it on his hands, but I also put it on a Q-tip and stick it up his nose. He loves that. Well, he used to hate it, but he's getting a lot better at it because he knows it's coming and it's not that bad. But the reason why I do that is because coconut oil is an antimicrobial, antibacterial, and antiviral. It's very powerful. So instead of that drying hand sanitizer that kills, yes, the bad bacteria, but it also kills the good bacteria, right? So you're left with like no defenses on your hands after that hand sanitizer. Use the coconut oil. If you want to use the hand sanitizer, follow up with the coconut oil, because that's going to replace everything that your skin needs so that it has the good bacteria on it. But the coconut coconut oil. I don't even use hand sanitizer on Jackson because it's got a little baby skin. I feel like it's going to dry it out. So I use the coconut oil before he goes to daycare and when he comes home from daycare. In the nose, on the hands. I put it on his face. My husband comes home. He's like, why is he a greaseball? I'm like, you know why. We do this every day. So let me see if there are any questions that I'm missing. So I don't want to overwhelm you with information. We will do more on, and I will talk more about oils. Oh, Rhonda, thank you. She says wonderful information. Thank you very much. Little by little, we take all of this information in little chunks, and then it makes the evolution into our new life easy when we don't put so much pressure on ourselves. And trust me, I'm the same personality. I'm like, I remember, I can heal? What do you mean I can heal? It's just a virus? Holy shit, what do I need to do? I'm going to do everything tomorrow. Those are the personalities that we attract inside Minding Your Soul, and those personalities are great, but we struggle with the balance, and we want to change everything all at once, and then we get overwhelmed, and then we crash. At least I do. So I always work on the balance. So that's why I say, when you go to make dinner later on, and you grab that oil out of your cabinet, I don't want you to look at it and be like, oh my God, I'm going to make a free radical soup. Relax. You've been using that oil forever. Use the oil. The next time you go to the grocery store, buy a different oil. Buy an olive oil, buy an avocado oil, and buy a coconut oil, and those will be your new oils. As you run out of the foods that you know aren't good for you, as we learn this information, the next time you buy them, when you run out of them, just replace them. That's the evolution. That's taking it in steps. And that's the balance of not putting all that pressure on you, because we're only able as humans to make a certain amount of decisions in a day, a certain amount of thinking. You know, when you get home from work, you're like, I'm done. I can't think anymore. Do not ask me to make another friggin' decision, because we've tapped out. That's why the kid who owns Facebook, I know he's not a kid anymore. I can't think of his name, but the kid who owns Facebook, he wears the same thing to work every single day, the same t-shirt, the same pants. And the reason why he does that is because he knows how the human brain works. He's not going to spend his precious decision-making abilities, he's not going to waste them on what to wear to work. He wears the same thing every day. There's little tiny hacks that we learn and that we incorporate, and we don't overdo it. We don't go balls to the wall. We want to, and we struggle with the balance. But little by little, you make these changes, and then eventually you're like, holy shit. 6 months ago, my entire kitchen looked different. I was eating completely differently. 6 months ago, I felt like shit, and now I feel so much better because of all those little changes that you're making. They all add up to one big change, and that's when you start feeling the difference. All right, so I hope this information helps, and I hope I ease the pressure, because sometimes when I take in so much information, I want to apply it right away, and then I crash and burn. So I try to learn from that and then see how I can offer some advice if you're of the same personality. Because so many of us are. I love that personality. It just fucks us up sometimes. All right. Oh, Mary says, what are your thoughts about meat as protein? All right, so listen, I'm going to take some questions right now. So if you are like, does she have anything else to say? No, that's my entire outline. That's everything that I was going to say on oils. So now I'm going to take questions. So if you want to jump off, go right ahead. If you have questions, post them, and I will answer them. Sorry. Mary, what are your thoughts about meat as protein? I love meat as protein. Are you kidding me? I love meat. My daughter's a vegetarian, so most of our food around here is vegetarian. I haven't given Jackson meat yet because he doesn't have back teeth. He has all his front teeth, but he doesn't have his back teeth. I will give him meat. I'm going to give him fish. I'm going to give him chicken. Probably not a lot of it because we don't eat a lot of it because of my daughter. And I've noticed that I do feel a lot better not eating as much meat as I was before. Not that there's anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with eating meat. The only thing is, when we're healing, meat takes a lot of energy to digest just because it's meat. It takes a lot of energy to digest. And I notice when I'm talking to clients or anyone in Minding Your Soul and they're talking about how tired they feel after they eat, it's because same thing with the heat intolerance. Your body's like, listen, I have very few resources. I'm exhausted all the time. And now you want me to break down the fucking meat that you just ate? I don't need to do that. I'm exhausted. But it has to digest the food, and it takes a lot of energy from your body to do that. That's why if you're healing and you're plagued with that god-awful fatigue and you can't do shit, I get it, I was there. Don't eat the meat. Don't make your body use so much energy to digest the meat. If your energy levels are doing better and you want to eat meat, great. We still shouldn't eat meat as humans more than once a week, and it should always be grass-fed, and I think we all know that by now. So I still eat meat. I wish I ate it once a week, but I don't. just because, like I said, my daughter and we all eat the same thing, so I just make it vegetarian for us. My husband, he eats meat every single day, but you should see his body. It's really nice. He also goes to the gym every fucking day. He eats meat every fucking day. And I don't say anything. He does what he wants to do, and he looks really good, and I'm grateful for it. So, and he doesn't have any virus or any symptoms of any kind. So you just keep doing what you're doing, hon. But as far as meat as protein, absolutely eat the meat. Don't eat a lot of meat. It takes a lot to digest, but there's nothing wrong with meat. Even medical medium's like, I don't care if you're a vegetarian or you're a meat eater. Eat it. Just pay attention to everything else that you're eating. Make sure you're still getting those antioxidants and vegetables and fruit and the healthy fats. Like, just make sure you're getting a nice round of everything. Sarah says, so many conflicting stories about oil. I know that every protocol has something different. So, you know, listen, I tend to go on what the medical medium says. I didn't even finish reading your question, sorry. So many conflicting stories about oil. Thank you for this live, really informative. Oh, I'm so glad, Sarah, good. Since I stopped eating oil, my hair is really dry. I think I'll introduce some oil back into my diet. You're another person who said that. Right? Someone once said to me, one of my very first clients, she's like, well, I'm on this protocol. I'm not allowed to eat fat, so I can't have any avocados. I'm like, what? Avocados are like one of the healthiest foods on the planet. And she's like, yeah, they say no avocados because you can't have fat. So I'm like, all right, well, what are some of your symptoms? And so much of what she was saying, like she even said, she's like, everything is dry on me. My hair's dry. It's falling out. I'm like, all right, listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm not trained in anything other than I healed myself from all of the symptoms of MS. I do read the medical medium, and this is what he says about fats and avocados and to eat them and they're healthy. And then we talked about the timing. She incorporated them back in. Oh my God, so much change, not just her skin or her hair, but the energy levels. Like, she felt so much better. She's like, why would they tell me not to eat avocados? I'm like, listen, I can't speak on other protocols. I have no idea. I said, but I do know a couple things about fat and oil. So she says the same thing you say, Sarah. So absolutely put some fat back into your diet. And if you still want to get your liver cleansing for as long as possible, add the fats later in the day. Maybe if you don't want to do lunch and after that, just do dinner. Do dinner, and after that, that's where you're going to get your oils in. There's always a way to do it. I'm telling you guys, I got a hack for everything. If you want to eat pizza, pasta, and ice cream and still live gluten-free, dairy-free, and egg-free, I got hacks for everything. I've been doing this a really long time. Quinn says, I like, you jumped. You jumped. The comment jumped. I like that binary outlook. This is how I'm going to live for the rest of my life. I would rather be gluten, egg, and dairy free than suffer how I used to. Right, Quinn? Trust me, that's a great outlook. And that's the outlook I had too. But there's so many people out there who are like, Janine, is there any way to heal without giving up gluten? Like, not that I know of. No, I don't. They're like, I can't do it. I just can't give up gluten. I'm like, all right, well, I can help you if you want to, change your foods over so you feel like you're still eating the same foods like bread and pasta, but they're going to be gluten-free. They're like, I'm not willing to do that. I'm like, all right, I can't help you then. But I hear you. Once you feel what this feels like, for it to be like 80 degrees in the house and not have to worry about going down because your body can't tolerate the heat. Once you feel what energy feels like all freaking day long and you're able to wake up and stand up, and every time I hit the floor, my feet were like completely numb. I'm like, am I on the floor? I felt like there were like skeletal sticks hitting the carpet. I'd have to look down and be like, all right, they're flat. Let me go. Once you feel what healthy feels like, you don't care if they said to you, you have to swallow a pill 3 times a day and that's going to be your food and you can live completely symptom free. You're going to be like, all right, fine, give me the pill. This feels amazing. That's why I try to make this as easy as possible with all the hacks that I've learned over how long is it now? She just turned 17, my daughter. So she was 2, 16, 15. Wow, I couldn't even do that math quickly. So for 15 years, I've been at this gluten-free and dairy-free, dairy-free and egg-free when I met the medical medium, but the gluten-free since she was 2 years old. So for the past 15 years, I've learned a few things, and I love to share them because it makes life easy. We really do forget, like, we can eat basically, I say basically anything because the fucking sharp cheddar cheese, there is no substitution for a good cheddar cheese. Mozzarella, they're doing okay. They're getting much better. Smoked Gouda, dairy-free smoked Gouda, you can't even tell the difference. Can't tell the difference. Parmesan cheese, Violife, Parmesan cheese, you cannot tell the difference. It's amazing. And coming from a Sicilian, when I say that the dairy-free Parmesan cheese tastes just like the real thing, you know it's the truth. Because I grew up on pasta, tomato sauce, and Parmesan cheese. No, we didn't call it gravy. We weren't allowed to. My mother's like, no, it's tomato sauce. My grandmother called it gravy, but we called it tomato sauce. All right, so let me just make sure that I got everything. I got about the protein. So we shouldn't put coconut oil. Mary asked, so we shouldn't put coconut oil in the heavy metal detox smoothie. Depends on when you're drinking it. So if you're going to drink the smoothie in the morning, no, why do that? Because let's keep the liver detoxing for that morning. If you're going to drink it in the afternoon and you want something a little bit more filling than what the heavy metal detox offers, then add the oil, then add the protein powder. Scoop of protein powder right in the heavy metal smoothie. It's not like celery juice where you can't add it. You can add whatever you want to it. It's still going to work. You don't even have to put all those ingredients in a smoothie. As long as you eat all the ingredients of the heavy metal detox smoothie within a 24-hour period, they're all going to work together. So Mary, it all depends on when you're drinking the heavy metal smoothie. If you're going to drink it in the morning, leave out the coconut oil. If you're going to drink it in the afternoon, maybe closer to the evening, put the coconut oil in. It's so good for you. Oh, Nancy asked, so many kinds of coconut oil out there, fractionated and others. Yeah, I had to look up a couple of years ago when they came out with that fractionated stuff. I was like, what the hell is this? And how come it doesn't get solid when it's cold? It always stays a liquid. They've broken down. It's not pure coconut oil. They've actually broken down the molecular structure and just removed those parts that actually cause it to solidify. Just use the regular coconut oil, the one that gets hard when it's cold and liquefies when it's hot. Just use that stuff. It's so much better for you. So don't use the fractionated. The MCT oil, I really can't give. I'm not a nutritionist. I really can't give my opinion on that. The only thing that I can give you is my experience of using the MCT oil. So back in the day, before the medical medium, I used to do the bulletproof coffee. And the butter, the MCT oil in the coffee in the morning, and it was great. And I was like, great, I'm getting the MCTs. But then I was like, reading about coconut oil and medium chain triglycerides, and the MCT oil is supposed to be like 6, 7, or 8 times stronger, or have 6, 7, or 8 times more medium chain triglycerides than the actual coconut oil itself. So I'm thinking, all right, so the MCT oil is better. But then I started reading about the coconut oil and how amazing that is with the complete profile in the natural form that it was supposed to be. Then I started using the coconut oil instead of the MCT oil in that bulletproof coffee, and the effects were amazing. The energy that I got was absolutely noticeable, absolutely noticeable. That's my experience. So anytime like someone says, would you recommend MCT over coconut oil? I'm like, no, because I felt the effects firsthand of when I changed from the MCT to the actual coconut oil, and it was a huge difference in my energy. So that's my opinion. Again, I can't tell you which one is actually better for you, but anything in its whole natural form, the way God intended, is always going to be better for you. All right, I got to get out of this room. It's like 1,000 degrees in here. I got to go hook up my air conditioning. I think I got everyone's, oh, Mary, you're welcome. I think I got everyone's question. If I missed anything, I will go back to it. I'm actually going out with my girlfriend. I usually do it Monday nights. We have our little sessions, our manifesting sessions, but she was out of town on Monday, so we're doing it on Wednesday. I told her it'd be at 6:30, so I got plenty of time. All right, guys, awesome to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned a little something. If you have any more questions, if you're watching the recording, still put your questions in the comments, and I will still get the notifications and be able to answer them. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight, and I will see you next week on the Live at 5. All right, have a great night, everyone. Bye.